All right, turn this up.
So what's the new segment you got?
Church announcement.
You want to do that today?
I'm gonna do it today. Turn this up to him, Darrell. Turn this up. What's up, Facebook? Somebody was in here drinking coffee, it wasn't us. Okay, good. Hey, Patrick. You on the 30th floor? Okay, here comes Justin. Don't get our picture, Jarrell. Our background. I like our heart, but not that much. It's a kinship, it's a friendship, it's a relationship, and all that means is what a brunch bunchship. It is my favorite day of the week. It is Throwback Thursday, and in order to know where you're going, you must first know where you come from. It's your main man, Action Jackson, and you're rocking with the Brunch Bunch right here on Inspiration 1390. I am so excited about this Throwback Thursday because guess what? He woke me up this morning and started me on my way. And if you hear my voice, he did the same thing for you. And you know what? I'm like Paul. I've learned to be content in every situation, knowing that God's strength sustains me. As you navigate today's hurdles, remember that God's strength is within you, empowering you to overcome any obstacle. Your journey is a testament to God's faithfulness, and each step forward brings you closer to your purpose. So stay resilient, stay hopeful, and stay tuned in to the Brunch Bunch right here on Inspiration 1390. We got a great show for you today. We have the Community Desk Chicago in the building. None other than Miss Ja'Net Dafell and Patrick Brutus will be joining us shortly to talk about the amazing work they're doing in the community surrounding economic development, community development, and all that means is there's some money we gonna get to talking about today. So as Charmaine from Uncle Remus Saucy Fried Chicken always says, call your friends and your frenemies and tell them to tune in to the Brunch Bunch right here on Inspiration 1390. Well, hello.
Man, Action Jackson in the business spotlight of the week is Rizzo's frozen pudding. Available in Snickers strawberry, real banana, Hawaiian pineapple, and chocolate mousse.
Look,
Southern
she's
style frozen pudding
she
available
laughed
at
at
your
more.
local Oscar. Go to Rizzo's
Cut that
frozen
down
pudding.com
to a
for more information.
So how y'all doing today?
All right.
It's much bigger than the last time I was here. You
Yeah.
got more square footage.
Yeah, we was just talking about that before you walked in too. Right. well, welcome back, and it's good to know that. Listen, when you told me Patrick, I'm like, oh, she got the right brother with her.
You know, I got to get my people ready.
Yeah.
We got a lot of stuff going on. Listen, I'm just happy to be here with the celebrities.
You see my hey, you see jazzing me up.
Yeah.
We got big people in the room for sure.
Listen, you guys, and I sent you another email. Did y'all get it?
I did. I saw that.
So I wanted to send that So then today, once we had the conversation, I really learned about everything. Then I can re-invite y'all and make sure y'all there next week.
Okay. I see. So what's going on with your project? How's that going?
We're gonna do it in a row.
Well, you know what? Oh, in the raw. Yes, it was stalled. So long story short, we had a baby. Right after I got approved for the project.
You had a real baby.
A real baby.
Okay, I'm just saying, people
Right
sometimes
there.
say my baby this.
And it's a dog. No, MJ is a real baby, but then he was in the hospital for 5 months. So then that derailed life. And then after that, we got pregnant again. And I'm like, okay, life is life. And then we found out my wife has cancer while she was pregnant with the second baby. And so that derailed life. So the last 2 years of my life have been a whirlwind. Yes, yeah. We found out while she was 7 months pregnant. Yeah, she is on chemo, and we're praying and keeping our faith. It's been a real journey. So, son, no, she had the baby. She had to have the baby 2 months early. She had the baby August 14th. August 16th, she was doing chemo.
We're in the Raw with Tamara Fair on the Brunch Bunch.
So, of course, I'm not Tamara Fair, but in her stead, and we're praying for Tamara Fair. She is not on the air because she is in the air on her way to Paris. Did I say that real bougie? All right. She's on her way to Paris, France for some much needed R&R, and she deserves it. So we're going to keep her in our prayers. So you're stuck with me, believers, for the next week by myself. I think she timed that very well because I took a week off. She's like, I got you, brother. But in her stead, she's been talking about President Joe Biden. And President Biden is treading lightly and on a tightrope with this Israel-Iran situation that's going on. So Iran's brazen attack directly targeting Israel on Saturday means that the one thing President Biden most feared and desperately sought to avert in the wake of the October 7th Hamas attack has happened, an escalation of the conflict to the wider region. Now, for the president, the tightrope he was walking on for the Israel-Gaza war has gotten even thinner as he seeks to both de-escalate the situation and deter Iran while facing domestic pressure from both the left and the right over the relationship with Israel. Any ceasefire deal in Gaza, meanwhile, hangs in the balance. Now, just 2 weeks ago, it appeared that the U.S.-Israel relationship, once the closest of close allies, was in serious trouble. Now, President Biden was expressing not just frustration, but also outright anger at the lack of humanitarian aid getting into Gaza and the killing of 7 aid workers in a strike by the Israel Defense Forces. Now, the level of disagreement was such that the administration made clear it could reconsider its stance towards Israel and possibly even withhold arms exports. But Iran's actions at the weekend seem to have changed all of that. The barrage of more than 300 missiles and drones fired at Israel prompted a highly successful hand-in-glove military action by the U.S. and Israel to defend the country. The coordinated action has seemingly rekindled some of the old warmth, and the White House will now be hoping it can capitalize on that to influence Israel's response. Now, of course, I aforementioned that the left and the right is on the president about this. We saw in Chicago recently that protesters shut down the expressway to get into O'Hare Airport. And we always hear, so I'll say Republicans are saying that President Joe Biden is is not as great as people are saying he is, and that President Trump didn't have a war starting under his administration. I'm sorry, Jarrell, for talking about your President Trump. But it has been a tightrope. This situation is crazy. I saw a lot of people on social media saying, now, what does Chicago have to do with what's going on in Israel, the Gaza, the Hamas? Why are they protesting here? If they don't block the airport, get on the plane and go there. But it took me back to my old activism days, and then it reminded me of Dr. King and the civil rights movement. until you make people uncomfortable, until there is no civil rest, they won't do anything. So although this is Chicago, now I remember when I was young, and my good big brother and friend is in the building with us, brother Patrick Brutus. I remember once a friend of ours, window, we were fighting, and I was young, I didn't have any kids, I didn't have nothing. And I'm like, you know what? If we want to make a stance, we need to shut down the expressway. And everybody got up out that room and said, "You by yourself, brother Jackson." So when I saw it, I said that was a good move, because what it does cause attention. And they got national news spotlighted about the cause. And so it worked. So I know Patrick is here in another position, but before we bring him here, I want to get him to weigh in on this situation. Brother Patrick Brutus, yes, you all. Yeah.
Thank you. My mic on? My mic on? Does my mic sound nice? Check one. Okay. So that's a very you're very right. You're very right. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here on the Brunch Bunch. Otherwise, I like to call it the Action Jackson Show.
I'm glad Tammy here.
Shout out to Tammy. But you bring up some very interesting points about needing to demonstrate that the will of the issue is stronger than the public's failure to respond to the issue. And sometimes we actually have to take those dramatic steps. And what I will say is that I have been watching this series of demonstrations from the people who are pro Palestine and want the war to stop and are saying that Israel is causing genocide. And what we can appreciate from a neutral standpoint is that they are very persistent. They are doing this every week. They're doing it everywhere. They're doing it in all kinds of different ways. And I think it's okay if we say black on the show.
Oh, of course, of course.
The black community should look at this as a lesson to re-engage ourselves in the issues that matter most to our community here in Chicago.
Yeah.
Because the question that you initially asked is, what does it got to do with people in Chicago? And we need to look at this in a paradigm shift and say we can actually start to organize ourselves, be as dramatic as other people are about their issues, and re-engage policymakers and stakeholders about the things that we want to have our things elevated to the consciousness levels for policy or what have you. So we can take a definite lesson while supporting them, but we can also do the same things for our community as well and our concerns.
That was articulated very well, and I knew you would.
Can I say one last thing?
Yeah,
because you mentioned Wendell. Shout out to Wendell Mosby.
Yes, shout out to my big bro.
If you remember, this is how we met about over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
In the political stuff, but certainly Wendell Mosby was at the epicenter of a lot of this stuff before it became stuff.
Yep.
Think about it. Adrian Irmer, Amisha Cross, you, Desmond Yancey, everybody that you can think of that's now on certain levels of, engagement, policy, TV, radio, elected. Wendell was there. He was like the original Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah.
Right? And he spun off all these folks.
Yeah, you know what I often quote, and for those of you that do not know, Wendell Mosby was the chairman of the Chicago Young and Powerful group. Yep. My big brother, I joined. He brought me in, and I hate to say it, right before it kind of got dismantled, I became the chair of the Chicago Young and Powerful. Right. Oh, I let it go. Lord Jesus, I got to go back and pick it up now that I think about it. But some of the people, like you said, Amisha Cross, we were all in the room together.
Right.
We were just young. We were out here trying to make it happen. And now they're on national, international levels, civically engaged. And we have to do this, though. And you made a very, very good point. We have to get real dramatic if we want change. And thanks to YMP, I got this quote, Young and Powerful. I'll never forget, it was a mayoral debate. I won't say the name, but if you want to figure it out, figure it out. Yeah. And because of my position with YMP, I was on the front row of the mayoral debate. And I saw a black man tell the sitting mayor of Chicago to shut up and sit down, because he put his hands over his mouth and then he pointed down to take a seat. And I looked up and the mayor just stopped talking mid-sentence and sat down. And I looked and I said, you know what? We all want change. But in order to get change, you need power. Mm-hmm. And in order to get power, you need some money. You got to organize economically. And so I'm like, you know what? That's when I said, forget all this marching and stuff. I got to go make some real money so I can really invoke change because we got to get dramatic. And till people see us, not just hear us, see us, they won't do what we need them to do legislatively. And so I'm glad today I got some money people in the building that understand economic development, though, and understand the power of having some money. And we're going to keep talking about that. Believers, it is Throwback Thursday. I know Patrick and Ja'Net love some good black gospel music, and we're going to take them all the way back with some Throwback Thursday hits right here on the Brunch Bunch.
Let's give the Lord a hand of praise.
Okay, because this list ain't right. That's why I'm like,
I didn't know which song that you wanted me to play.
For these babies, as we get ready to go back to our
anytime
seats.
you own
Before we
this
go back
mic
to our
is
seats,
on.
I want to take just a few
I
moments.
just want. That's why I'm not saying
there's a
anything
song
because I'm like,
just
I don't know if
yes,
I'm saying
yes.
something.
I'm a, I learned from political and YMP. The mics are always hot. That's how Jesse Jackson got caught up with the Obama thing that time. So anytime you're in the room with mics.
I'm not saying anything. I was like, I don't know if the mic is on.
But if you want to get in on the combo, you're more than welcome.
That's right, but I'm just trying to get my bearings.
I meant to tell you to cut this intro.
Are you filming live right now for Facebook?
Oh, can you help them go live on Facebook?
Yeah. I mean, are you doing?
He's doing some behind the scenes footage, but he can, if you give him your phones, he could help you get set up so you can be live.
Are you on right now?
Yep, we live on Facebook.
What I gotta do is just share.
Yeah, share our live. Share the live, and then you're gonna be on the live.
Do you have Instagram feeds too?
Yes.
So how do you do that on Instagram?
Are we live on Instagram? No, we're live on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay, we'll just post because we don't have a Facebook account, but we do have we have an Instagram account.
Here, I can send it to you. Oh, you gotta get a Facebook.
Well, here's the reason why I have an Instagram is because all my people on Instagram. That's how I keep up with what's going on. That's how I keep my ear to the ground.
So I used to be Facebook crazy because that's where all my support come from. But I realized that's my older support. So when I needed to get to the younger support, I had to get more active on Instagram.
So my corporate relationships and partners are on LinkedIn, but our community people are on Instagram. So we have an Instagram, if nothing else, just to keep an eye on what they're doing.
I got oh, Patrick, I didn't see your text last night. You know this better than I do. Well, your kids are a little older. You got younger ones.
No, I got 17, 14, 13.
Right, so you still got some younger ones. I sent it to Patrick. He get it. But I never really have my phone anymore because my son is always grabbing the phone.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, bruh, you only 2. Would you back up? But he know how to ignore calls, swipe up. Because I put it on Miss Rachel phone, and somebody texted me, he just swiped it up.
So can I just change the conversation quickly? Can I tell you, your spirit right now is like with everything that you...
Oh, thank you. Don't make me cry tonight.
Listen, I've had 2 parents with cancer. My father passed in July of brain cancer.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
So I have taken care of people and gone through that process, and it's very taxing. So I just want to acknowledge that you guys.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm sure it's a whole lot going on. With your kids.
Yes. You know, it's funny you say that. I was having a conversation, and of course, you know, my spiritual beliefs help me, right?
That's
and
right.
The joy of the Lord is my strength.
Right. That's right.
And somebody said, you know what, you're always smiling. And I put a picture of me up. My mother sent a picture of me when I was a kid, and I'm smiling so hard. And I said, this joy that I have, I've always had it, and the world cannot take it away. But then people don't think, oh, he ain't going through nothing because he's just smiling. I'm like,
the weight you carry, but you still maintain that spirit. So I just want to acknowledge that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's a lot.
Yeah, you know, we were in the hospital the other night from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Yeah, what's today? Look, my day's off. Tuesday. I got home at 6, was back up at 7:30, got to work, came here. And some days I'm like, Lord, why am I still smiling? But the joy of the Lord is my strength.
They can't take my joy.
They cannot take my joy. I'm like Paul. I've learned to be content in whatsoever state that I'm in. I can't control it. You know, I can just let the controller do what he do best.
You can't get in the way of God anyway.
Yep.
Right? You can try, and many do. And
what they say, what is the saying? Tell God if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Yep.
It's true.
I said if God gave us a glimpse of what we had to go through to get to, some of us would politely decline.
Absolutely.
You know what, bro? Thank you, God, but I don't want it. If you're going to take me through this season, I'll keep it.
That's right. That's right. But if you think about it, if you think about every major accomplishment you ever made, you had to work hard for it.
You had to work hard. I tell people all the time, I've been in this game 20 years of business, community. So when you see stuff now, they're like, you keep getting this, you keep getting that. And at one point, I'm like, I can't post no more accomplishments. So I'm getting this award. I ain't telling nobody. And I'm like, no, I worked hard for this. I don't care. You mad? You just gonna be mad because it didn't come overnight. It took me giving, sacrificing, helping when I didn't want to help, giving money when I really didn't have it, investing when I didn't. And that's why I'm glad you asked about my project, because I'm finally picking it back up. It took a long, I almost was about to sell the building. I was going to give up on it. And I'm like, you know what? He didn't bring me this far to leave me. We about to rock and roll.
That's right. That's absolutely correct.
So look, I'm glad y'all here to see what other money and funds we get.
Well, because I had told
You want to go live on our?
I only have Instagram.
Well, you know what? Just let them hook you up so you'll be on our live and then you can reshare the video.
Okay, so what do I do?
I'm live right now.
Add you.
So you do it through Facebook, right? Or what do you do?
No, we got a software. He gonna give you the link.
Okay, you don't send it.
Oh.
I just had you.
Okay. Okay, we're good.
So
Where's okay.
Hey, believers, it's your
type your
main man,
number
Action
like
Jackson.
this.
Are you searching for a life-changing word? Look,
Hey, stay in your lane. Thank you.
Ministries. Tune in.
She said you deserve your flowers, Action Jackson. Thank y'all.
Corby Bush Ministry
this
brings
cat
you powerful
when he
messages
was
that will
he
hit
was
your
big.
heart
Now he's
and
bigger.
transform
He wears suits now. He's chilling because money's too
spreading
good. He's
Oh,
like,
Look, I knew you were coming. I had on the Nike jogging suit at first. I said, let me at least put on some jeans.
I'm
Ja'Net
trying to match his energy, honey. I told you to wear your suits outside.
Oh, he gonna have a suit on. Patrick been wearing suits since suits been suits.
I got a guy.
I don't know why all of a sudden I have gotten so technology. I have been having all types of I've been having all types of
in the best price. Your quest is at LNS Development. With our expert real estate and mortgage loan services, we turn your property dreams into reality.
Don't let financial
hurdles stand in your way. Our seasoned team is here to guide you.
Let's do another one real quick. I won't do a what's going on. I'll do the church announcements. I only got one so far. I feel it. Yeah, I want you to use the intro.
And let LNS Development open the door.
Oh, wow.
Hey, you have church
Again, 773.
Yeah, well, you know what? We used to do it before the pandemic, and this morning I got up and realized, I'm like, you know what? We haven't done church announcements in a while. Yeah, so some I do for free, and some I ask for a $25 donation, and we just do your shout out.
Can I give you a church shout out for our church?
Yeah. Yeah, write it out for me. You got a pen?
Can I pause this or whatever? Because I can send you a screenshot. Because we're having WCTW running the gospel brunch.
Okay.
And they're coming to our church to do the gospel brunch. Tuesday.
Text me the flyer. You could just go out and come back in.
Oh, I can go and come back.
Yep.
Oh, just go back to the text.
Oh, senior citizens, I tell you.
I got my Mac computer in my bag right now. I'm like, I gotta go to Apple Store and figure out what's wrong with it.
Hey guys, it's Tamara.
Okay, so you are up there. You are live.
Brunch, brunch. Now your home is not just a place.
So
It's a lifetime of memories, hard earned and cherished.
A song, then. What song is next?
They understand what it means to protect these memories. As a
Israel all on the altar.
authorized dealer,
No, bring me in. Hopefully Patrick will text me before.
24/7, 360
How long we got?
days a year.
And you know what? Their
Okay,
response
Patrick
center
will
is
get that to
ever
me.
vigilant, providing top-notch monitoring for burglary, fire, carbon monoxide, and medical emergencies. They
What was the next song you said?
I could put in.
standards.
I could
With
put
secure
in
home
the.
and automation. They have the power to
Israel all
customize
on the
your
altar,
security solution.
or any song that's on the list.
Do My Liberty.
Isn't that priceless?
My Liberty?
So
Yeah.
let Secure Home and Automation be a part of your story, a part of your legacy. They're safeguarding your home and preserving your peace.
So go ahead and call 866-447-3344. That's 866-447-3344. Call today and make a wise choice to secure your tomorrow. Secure Home and Automation. You've heard the name. Now experience the promise
Hold on,
of
I
ultimate
didn't
safety
get
that
the
they
picture
bring to
yet.
your home. Call Stacy Chauncey at 866-447-3344. Stacy Chauncey,
Okay, I got it.
866-447-3344.
See, I like that organ. Well, maybe we could figure out another one, but I like that. I'm by church announcing intro. I'm like, it got to be a nice little organ play under. Londa, I'm gonna send you Brian Pickett is his name. Pickett Funeral Home. Thank you, Bettina. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, DJ Below. Somebody told me, Ja'Net, owner Uncle Remus was calling me. She said, you know what? And I told her, and I don't mind telling you all Facebook too, when we were at the hospital with my son, because my son has Hirschsprung's disease. Never heard of it.
I haven't either.
I'm no conspiracy theorist, but I think it was the vaccine shot that. When I asked the doctors, they said, well, there's not enough studies to tell us, But so what that means is his bowels don't work, basically. So he has an ostomy, he has an IV in his chest because whatever food he eats does not digest. It doesn't even get the nutrients out of the food. So he just eat. At first they thought he wasn't gonna eat at all, but God did that. He's eating and drinking. So they reversed one of his. He had a G tube, but we supposed to feed him through his stomach, but he ended up not needing that. And so his IV had his central line had a hole in it, which can cause major issues. Luckily, my wife found it immediately, so we had to rush to the emergency room, and we got in there. And I didn't tell Valencia this. We were in that room, it was late, and I just turned to the corner, and I couldn't believe some tears just started falling down my eyes. And I don't usually cry like that. Now, on Sundays at church, I let it loose. But I felt so much better after I cried.
You do. You have to take the weight off of you. That's exactly
I'm
what
like,
it is.
I can't believe it. And I was telling Charmaine from Uncle Remus, and she said, you know what? You smile all the time. And she said, the old saying, you probably didn't even realize. Sometimes you got to smile to keep from crying. And I said, I didn't think of that.
That's true.
I said, I just be smiling. But you know what? I felt like I was a vessel full. And once I cried, it was just
it's like a pressure.
Yeah.
And at some point, it's like you just explode.
So I'm like, well, God, I thank you, because in that room, I promise, I'm like, God, I got so much work to do. Why are we at this hospital? Why are you doing this? And I'm like, why not?
But you know what? The other thing I say it keeps me sane is He will never give you more than you can handle.
Yep. And it's not a cliche.
Some
people say that's a cliche. That's real talk. No, it's real.
That's real talk.
Now, I saw an Instagram meme that said, all right, God, I know I'm one of your strongest, but you can hold off on some of this stuff. I'm like, I'm going to put that on the shirt. Don't you give me that else, Jesus. I'm good, bro. I got you.
That's right.
Thank you, Tina. Tears are released. And one of my mentees, he used to work here. He went on to become a very successful entrepreneur now. He called me the other day. He said, you're doing the world a disservice. I said, what? He said, your Instagram, you're not talking. You just videos, pictures. He said, you have so much to say. You got to let the world know. I'm like, well, I said on Facebook. He like, no, we want to hear it too on Instagram. So that's why I share everything. You never know. The Bible teaches us we overcome by the words of our testimony, right? And you never know who's going through what. People don't share, so I just share, But don't y'all tell everybody I was crying.
Listen, man, the best book you're ever going to read, besides the Bible,
All right,
is the one you write.
That's it.
And how you write it is how you speak it too. So keep talking about whatever, because like you said, people are being lifted up by all the things that everybody's going through, but that you might think that you don't want to tell, or you're the only one, or it's embarrassing. You're in a position because you have people following you every day, every week. You have listeners, you have an audience. And people are looking at you to be the next Cameron Hall,
Listen.
Right, that part.
I take it. Because this is the face for the tizzle in my mind.
That's right.
You see how I broke that serious?
Yeah. Thank. I think Patrick trying to get the co-host spot on here. Look, I don't know.
You should invite him.
Now, Patrick and Brian Mullins used to have. Now, you know what? Brian Mullins is nuts. I love Brian.
Look, I was just with those guys. Wednesday?
Oh,
30. The 16th, whatever day that was.
Tuesday.
We might bring back the black table.
Okay, listen. And if you need somewhere to film, I got a podcast studio on the west side. Come west.
Look, hey, so I told them if we do this, because we've been on 2 years, I'm trying to get a job. It's serious. We got to do it in a TV studio type thing. No podcast type thing.
Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2.
All right, we are bringing back church announcements. Look, Jarrell just pointing at me. It's okay. We're working on some new stuff over there. But I do want to point out, we played a song today, and I want to shout out Pastor DeAndre Patterson. Of course, he's on the afternoon drive home. But there was a video of him floating on Instagram where he was singing an old church song. I've decided to make Jesus my choice. And when I saw this 1 minute and 30-second clip, I got chills through my body. So I had to find it. So, of course, we played the song today. But the word said the road gets rough and the going gets tough. And I felt that, because in life we go through so much and it gets rough and it may get tough. But you have to decide to make Jesus your choice. Listen, we're going to debut a new... Oh, Lord. Jarrell's already played it. I got to get my headphones. Well, on today's version of church announcements, and if you have some announcements that you want to get out, we'll be doing this because we want to make sure that we're highlighting local events that churches, community, organization, businesses are doing, because I realize there's a disconnect in the African-American community where we just don't always know what's going on or the resources out there. So I want to shout out the WTTW Gospel Showcase. Is going down Tuesday, April the 23rd, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at the Shiloh Seventh-day Adventist Church, their new location, 7000 South Michigan Avenue, right here in Chicago, Illinois. Is it open?
Everybody can come for free.
Free, open to the public. It'll be a WTTW Gospel Showcase live broadcast. So you want to make sure you're in the building. Calling all young people ages 18 to 24. The Dream Center is hiring paid interns for social media management, content creator, administrative, business development, and event coordinator. The summer internship goes from June 24th to August the 2nd. It is paid as $15.40 an hour for 20 hours a week. If you know any young people interested in a summer internship, there are a few spaces available. All they have to do is email their resume to info@thedreamcenter.com. That's info@thedreamcenter.com. Let them know you heard about it on the Brunch Bunch. Last but not least, the Dream Center is having their monthly co-working day. It is going down next Thursday, April the 25th, 2024 at Decadent Chicago. It's a Black-owned coffee and dessert bar on 13th in Michigan. So that's 1355 South Michigan. It's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. There'll be networking, coffee, Wi-Fi, discounted lunch specials, and it's going to end with a panel discussion. And the theme for this month is secure the bag, access to capital. So we have bankers, lenders, grantors coming in to talk about access to capital programs that's available. And I do want to just shout out to PNC Bank, although we have several banks that are coming. PNC Bank has a line of credit up to $100,000 for small business owners, and they lowered the barrier to entry, so the credit score doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be good. So if you want to learn more about that, come out to the Dream Center Co-working Day. It's going down April the 25th, 2024 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can RSVP at thedreamcenter.com. That's thedreamcenter.com. We're going to keep rocking on this Throwback Thursday because up next, we have Community Desk Chicago to tell us about all of the great work that they're doing. Shout out to our great producer, Jarrell, who is keeping us moving on this Throwback Thursday. Take us higher with some throwback hits right here on Inspiration 1390. Jarrell, I can't hear the intro. That's why I didn't know. No, I wanted you to play the intro at the song. You ain't play it? Oh, okay. You said, do you want the intro today? I said, yep.
I didn't know that you meant off that song.
Oh, I got you.
I thought you were waiting for him to go like two.
Right, because
you
heard, because I was like, maybe he gonna tell me when to speak. That's all right, we got it. I wanted them to hear your voice on that intro you made, you know.
I didn't know that it was time for something else now.
Yeah, I got you.
Thank you.
No problem. I tell every elected official to come on here, we're only going to do 1 minute of this. Let's bring the interview in. They got to figure out better ways to communicate to the community. Because it's a travesty that they have all these programs, resources, and the same people know about them. Nobody else knows.
Have you ever thought about doing like a stop hits and having all the folks in here from the west side, like, you know, maybe doing a Keisha or Marcus back, just like, you know, stop hits and talk about stuff, you know? Like,
well, I have not thought about just getting them all, but they all, Lakeisha, anybody I run into, they've all been or been invited to come. And because we use this platform to make sure we're not just a regular show. We are infotainment. So we're going to talk a little entertainment. We're going to talk politics, but we're talking business. No, just bring us in. You can do what's going on. You can do it. Look. He's like, wait to make up your mind. I wasn't going to do what's going on because I thought we had the other intro, but y'all are what's going on.
Okay. I take that. Listen, I'm in the building with the celebrities.
Today is going on. Anita Applebaum before today got the green. Come on. 2.
Where's the action, Jackson?
I'll tell you what's going on.
So what's going on is our guests are from the Community Desk Chicago. Is a 501c3 nonprofit that works with nonprofits, community developers, and entrepreneurs to assemble the necessary capital, expertise, and other resources to increase real estate development in the neighborhoods that promote a high quality of life. We have Miss Ja'Net Dafell, the president and CEO, and might I add, the 2024 Chicago Defender Woman of Excellence. Woo, woo, woo. She has more than 20 years of management consulting, urban planning, and real estate development experience. Prior to leading Community Desk Chicago, Ja'Net served as a real estate subject matter expert for a federal agency and a real estate consultant and developer at the Community Development Financial Institution, CDFI, where she managed a portfolio of nonprofit community-based real estate projects. Along with her is my friend and big brother, Mr. Patrick Brutus, who is the Senior Director of Real Estate Programs. Patrick is an experienced professional with more than 25 years of public sector experience in economic and community development. Most recently, he spent nearly 2 decades with the City of Chicago's Department of Planning and Development. Let's give a warm brunch bunch welcome to Ja'Net and Patrick. Woo, 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 woo. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome.
I'm just happy to be in the building.
We are happy to have you in the building. You know, we're on the show. We're Monday through Friday, 12 to 1, and it is so amazing that every day we have a guest, right? And it's like, I know everybody that come in the room. So
that's right.
That is so dope how Chicago is so interconnected. And when you're doing good work, You're connected with good people, and I'm honored to know you both. Patrick knew me 12, 13, 14 years ago when I was a young, budding, wannabe community activist, fight the power, entrepreneur. And Ja'Net actually helped assist me in receiving $100,000 grant from the Chicago Community Trust. Listen, and her expertise is so dope because she was the one to tell me, yep, your grant application is terrible. Let me tell you where you need to fix it, where you need to do this. But the conversations were very helpful. And what I did like about working with you before we actually met in person was you just gave me some good advice and tips on how to rewrite the grant application and the narrative to include and information. And I looked up and somebody had told me, oh, nobody gets the max 100,000. I'm like, well, I believe God. And when I got that email 100,000, I probably ran around church 4 times. So welcome both of you for the great work that you are doing in the city. Ja'Net, I want you to tell us, because you are the founder, CEO of the Community Desk Chicago. Give us some background on the Community Desk and how it was founded.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So, and you and I have been talking about coming on the show for a while.
Years,
and I'll tell you, it's been a while. And I will tell you that anytime I have an opportunity and get a platform to really talk about our work, I think it's so critical. And I think you even alluded to some of the challenges that we face in communities of color on the South and the West Side is that not having access, not having a voice, not being organized, and having that power that we need to advance the work. So Community Desk Chicago, we are a 1-year-old organization. We officially turned 1 year old in March. We launched out of the Chicago Community Trust, and we launched out of the trust, who continues to be a great partner for us because we needed to be in a position to do more. And more means supporting local organizations, developers, and others really move these projects forward. You talk about your work on the West Side. I mean, it's hard to do real estate.
Yes.
And in our communities, it's generally not us doing the work. And so the desk, literally Community Desk Chicago, has the word desk in it. It has the word desk in it for a reason, because we consider ourselves to be a help desk. And we realize and understand the value of having a quality of life in neighborhoods. So when I go to the store, I'm not being served behind a bulletproof glass, right? And the fact that you have absentee landlords in these neighborhoods and the living conditions in some of this housing is really bad.
Yep.
And so we need to have organizations like the Desk that can support you in getting that grant application the way it needs to be. Because sometimes it's about, how do I translate the need to the funders? And it's not that the funders don't think you have a great project, but if it's not articulated, you can't make that connection. And it's also about having access, right? So someone or funder may pick up my phone call and not yours because they don't know you. So part of it is about relationships. It's about access. It's about translations and connections. And so as the help desk, which, we've been called City Desk, the Help Desk, the Chicago Desk. We don't care what you call us. Just call us.
Just call us.
Just call us. But the goal really is, I get day in and day out, I get so tired of money being invested in community plans, and those plans don't go anywhere. And they don't go anywhere because people don't have access to the properties. You said what? Power is money. You got to have money. They don't control the assets, the properties. They don't have the money. And we have to do better in these neighborhoods. We have to do collective action. You all talked a little bit about that earlier. You got to have collective action. And so what we do at the desk, and why it was critical for us to launch, was that we needed to be in a position to do more. And that more means bringing in more money, being able to get more money out the door to folks like you, having that technical coaching. And most importantly, which is why I'm happy that Patrick's with me today, we're really excited to bring him on as our new staff person supporting our real estate work, because we need to be on the ground. On the ground supporting this work. And Patrick comes with the expertise, being in the space, but he's also just generally with the community. Right? We gotta have the right people working in our communities. And he comes with that spirit and that expertise. So we're really excited to have him on board. But that was really the motivation for the launch.
I love it. And you definitely got the right person. Patrick is community driven, a family man, and he loves the community. And you said something. First of all, development is not easy.
No, it's not.
It's definitely not easy in African American and brown communities.
That's correct.
But like Patrick asked earlier, can I say black on this show? So we talking black, all right? So in black communities, and there's so many different nuances to development, right? Mm-hmm. Having the access to capital, having ownership of the property, having the funds when you get certain grants to match or repay,
That's right.
And having a team.
That's right.
Because you're not an architect, you're not a GC, you are not, so we know Chicago is known for its disparity in Black and Latinx neighborhood. How does, and I like the desk. Look, I can see that, the desk. How does the community of Chicago address these disparities, and what strategies do you use to bring together knowledge, capital, and connections for the holistic development?
That's right. So let's talk a little bit about some of the facts. So we have some neighborhoods in Chicago, especially on the south and the west side, that have vacancy rates on commercial corridors as high as 43%. And that's because the properties on these corridors, the people that live in those neighborhoods don't own them, right? There was also a recent study by the Brookings Institute that talked about how the households or the racial profile of the folks who own commercial real estate and make wealth from that real estate. Blacks are 2%. So of the wealth that's being generated from commercial transactions, 2% of that comes from Black people. So part of, as you talk about dealing with the racial disparities in terms of wealth, it comes from, we need to identify those pathways to change that. And so what we focus on at the desk is the real estate aspect of changing that some people work on housing, some people work on workforce development. We work on the neighborhood assets and how do we shift the power dynamics in those neighborhoods. And part of shifting that power dynamic is let that small business own the property. Let that local small developer develop that property, right? And so because we understand development and all the components, you hit it on the head, the capital, you got to have the right team. You got to be in a position where you can sort of move all those pieces together to make it work. So as the help desk, we kind of sit in the middle as an intermediary, and we weave all those pieces together for our projects. And so the goal would be, now that we have that property in the hands of that small business, you now have an asset, an asset that's depreciating, right? It can also be leveraged to do more work, right? Most real estate people who own assets, they leverage the appreciation associated with those assets, and they can keep buying more assets. So part of it is like, how do we strengthen your wealth? Real estate is one of the key components to do that. And so that's how we try to manage some of that disparity, is by really working through ways of how we create pathways for wealth building. And real estate is definitely one of those.
I love it. And of course, you got Patrick Brutus, over 20 years with the city Department of Planning. Patrick, seems like a power team right here. What is your dynamic here with the desk?
I am the Robin to her Batman.
I love it.
I love that.
100%. Ja'Net is a force, as you can see, and for those people who know her, know this. I wouldn't leave the city after so many years if the opportunity wasn't something like this, right? Because Marcel, that I'm all about trying to make sure that Black people win in every space possible, right? And we've been in a lot of spaces, but this is what I do for a living. And so, after so many years of doing this, I consider myself an expert. So I appreciate Ja'Net taking a chance on me and, recruiting me out of the city where, I was able to do a lot of stuff. And so I will say that I had a fortunate chance to work on the west side and the south side. And I've seen that there isn't much difference between south side and west side.
Not at all.
That's right.
In Chicago, it's a real thing. People are like, I'm from the south side, from the west side. But really, the west side and the south side economically look the same.
Same issue.
And so we have a lot of work to do. And the work must be done. Right? And so this not-for-profit, okay, this is a real not-for-profit. This is a real company. This is a real mission that we are trying to endeavor to complete, right, to accomplish. And What we're talking about here at the Community Desk Chicago is really transforming the idea that wealth can be created in the community wealth building. You heard her mention it. And I will say that, it's been discussed at many different kinds of levels over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. But I think in the last 3 to 4 years, you've seen a higher level of intentionality behind it that's meaningful, that's strategic, that's really purposeful to actually create the wealth from people who live in these communities. And so that they can, like Ja'Net said, what we're focused on is owning the real estate assets in the community.
Yeah.
And we don't do housing. We are trying to create opportunities for businesses to thrive on these commercial corridors in many of our, strategic communities where Black people live, where we want them to work and play also.
Yeah.
Right. We've got to actually improve the conditions for Black businesses and people to own the property and to create sustainable opportunities for retail and commercial.
That's
so
right.
That's what
That's
we're
right.
trying to accomplish here.
And I also just add to that in saying, part of the reason why our mission is so focused on community wealth building with a specialty really in the commercial corridor areas is when people think about projects in these neighborhoods, the same projects are medical clinics, charter schools, housing. And these to me are things that are basic quality of life.
Yep.
Right. But when you don't have a sit down restaurant and every single store on a corridor has bulletproof glass and it is owned by people who don't live like us, that's problematic.
Yep.
And so the real estate people will tell you, well, it's rooftops. We gotta have the density there, and you gotta have the rooftops. Let me tell you, I spent 5 years in the city of Detroit. I moved there literally right after the bankruptcy to rebuild that city. There are Black families. That is a Black city. And when we did the rebuilding and we worked to support the rebuilding, they had thriving corridors and they were single family residents. So when people start to say, well, you got to have yes, that's true. But it is a parallel track, because who wants to live next to an abandoned building and have to walk to the corner every day to take the bus? So it creates this dynamic between people who live there and these sort of blighted buildings and these very extractive landlords. Actually, somebody used the word parasitic. And I said, oh, that's my new word now.
Yeah.
They literally, it's a take kind of mentality, and it becomes emotionalist. And what's really sad about it is there are some people who live in these neighborhoods who believe that that's normal.
Yeah.
It is not normal. When
PTSD.
Listen, I grew up in Auburn Gresham, 79th Street, 79th and Morgan is where I grew up. And when I walked we call it the corner store. We know some folks call it bodegas. We call it corner store. I could walk to the corner store, and the person behind that counter was a Black person, and I could hand my money across the counter.
Not through a bulletproof glass. Right. And I'm glad we got to definitely have you guys back to keep this conversation going. But before we wrap, we got a couple more minutes. I want to know, I want the believers who are listening, and Facebook is chiming in. Tina Hammond from Inglewood, Southside said, oh, I know Patrick. That's my man. Juan Teague said, Ja'Net is amazing. Londa said, this is so on point, this conversation. This is right up my alley. I'm loving it. Who should be calling the community desk? Who are you looking for? What's the target audience? Who the people listening? Tell them who should be calling you.
So we are looking for people who are, whether it's an entrepreneur or it's a small community developer or it's a nonprofit organization who is looking to make a change in their neighborhood, specifically around economic development projects. So we're looking for people who may want to open up a bakery, who have existing stores that they may be incubating out of, like places like the Hatchery. So we're looking for those businesses that need to be to the next level, and we can find those folks homes. We are working in certain neighborhoods, like we're working in South Shore, we're working in Inglewood, we're working in Avalon Park, we're working in Humble Park. So we do have some specific neighborhoods, but what I would just say is, if you feel like you have a project that may be worth talking to us about, let's do it. Now, I will tell you, try to be as transparent. We cannot support startups right now.
Okay.
So ideally, these are people who literally may be operating businesses out of their basement, but they got real clients, real customers. They could be
real bank statements, real tax returns.
Right, because we literally we have several clients that we have physically we have supported them to physically get brick and mortar spaces. But you gotta have something, you gotta have some traction to do that.
I got you.
Yes, absolutely.
And how can they reach out to you? How can they connect with the community desk? I'm about to be like other people, giving y'all nicknames.
Listen, first of all, everybody know Patrick, so just call Patrick.
blow him up.
So you can always reach out to us at hello@community-chicago.org. So send us an email. We'll get back to you. And again, worst case, just reach out to Patrick and we'll get things going. But what I will tell you is we can't help everyone. I want to be transparent. But what we can do is try to make sure if you don't fit our profile, we will route you to someone who we think can help you. So we're open to talking to everyone at this point, but just want to be transparent about what might be our criteria. And ideally, it is active businesses and active projects. It just needs to get to that next level.
All right, Tina made sure she corrected. She's from West Inglewood. I didn't even know it was a West Inglewood. So you're a West Sider. But you know what, Ja'Net and Patrick, you're doing some amazing work. These are the type of conversations we must continue to have.
That's right.
Because we got a lot of work to do, especially in these African-American business corridors.
That's right.
Because it's a travesty to see so many closed, so many boarded up, and, owners are not there to take care of properties. But we got working, and we're glad to have Batman and Robin, Ja'Net Dafell and Patrick Brutus from the community desk leading the charge. And we definitely want to have you back. And so, believers, if you want to connect with the community desk, call Patrick's cell phone if you got his number, or email hello@community-chicago.org. That's hello@community-chicago.org. Believers, we encourage you on this Throwback Thursday to keep love alive, and in the spirit of the late, great Reverend Clay Evans, as we do each and every Thursday, we're going to close out this show with all night, all day. No matter what you're going through today, no matter how bad the day may seem, go home tonight, get in your bed and pull the covers around your shoulders and go to sleep, because angels are watching over you. Up next, AC Green. After that, DeAndre Patterson with the afternoon drive. We get it done all night long right here on Inspiration 1390. Latita Thomas said, I'm calling Patrick.
That's why I was like, just call him,
See you, Facebook. We love you. Hope you enjoyed the show. Stay in your lane. Forget you. Talk about, I couldn't hear my throwback music. Y'all talking. We love y'all. Up next. Oh, not up next. See y'all tomorrow.